Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Hey, buddy, somebody got to be walked out. Them patriots say the hell with a judge. Hey, the people spoke loud and clear. Loud and clear. You know? But this is what I advocate for. I advocate for things just like this, for people to be walked out, fired, sued, handcuffs, hands behind your back, you know, people to be made an example out of, you know, people to be embarrassed, fact checked, all of it, all the above. Yeah, this is what I advocate for. This is good. This is real good. You know, the hell with the left, these liberals, these Democrats, out of touch, woke, no common sense. The people spoke loud and clear. These activist judges, these judges put the judges on the plane, send their paycheck, and we can benefit it to somewhere else that can go good. Yeah. I'm sick of all this crap, man. Send them down to Ukraine, send them down to El Salvador, let them stay there. Good. This is good. Yeah. But we got some breaking news. They say, Rick, sir, don't start the show off like this, sir. Rick, sir, please, sir, calm down, sir. Your blood pressure, sir. Your cholesterol, sir. Rick, sir. Rick, sir, I want my tax dollars back, sir. I know. Rick, what is going on in America, sir? I don't know, y'all. It's insanity. It's crazy, man. We got race wars going on right now. We just can't get along. We just can't unite. We just can't come together. Trump derangement syndrome has hit all-time stages we've never even seen before. I mean, stages 9 to 15, 20. It's way past stage 4, Trump derangement syndrome. It's Musk derangement syndrome. It's just bad. The fake news media, the enemy of the people. They won't never tell you the full story or tell you the truth, you know? And this is why we are the media. But boy, it's going on. Not looking good for Chief Justice John Roberts. A big lawsuit has been filed against Chief Justice John Roberts. And this is just the beginning. Ooh. Oh boy. And that's why Justice Roberts is getting sued. Buyout! Supremely biased. Justice must be blind and not stupid. Oh boy.
We've
Chief Justice Roberts pushes back on impeachment of district judge.
We've got Congressman Jim Jordan.
Jim.
Judiciary Committee, and I know you guys have been looking, a lot at these activist judges. Talk about the problem that it is and what we're doing about it.
Well, the fundamental problem is exactly what the president said. He put his name on the ballot. Yeah. He got elected by we the people. He gets to make the calls as the guy who runs the executive branch, not some unelected federal district judge who somehow thinks they're equivalent to the president of the United States. So that's, the left always wants the unelected to make the calls, the Faucis and the Boasbergs. They want them making the judgments and the decisions, not the people who put their name on the ballot, but that's not how our system works. So we've actually sent a letter to the court. We're kind of curious about how Judge Boasberg gets all these cases. You know, he was the guy who was on the FISA court when they spied on President Trump's.
I call him James Muffin Top. Put that judge on the plane, send him to El Salvador, and let him stay there. It's safe now. Oh, it's really safe over there now. It's great over there. Yeah, send that judge to El Salvador. A lot of these clowns need to be impeached and put in handcuffs.
Campaign. He was the judge that oversaw Kevin Kleinsmith's case, the guy who altered a document, lied to the court, the FISA court. He oversaw that case. He was the judge who said, turn the plane around, bring the bad guy back who's a member of a gang, who did terrible things, who's here illegally. And he's also now the judge who gets randomly assigned the Signal Gate case against Secretary Hegseth. So we wrote the court and said, how does it all work out? How does this random assignment process work? Because we're concerned about the same thing President Trump was talking about.
There's been concerns about, like a judiciary that can, weaponize itself. This is not a new problem in this country. This is not a new fear that judges could, exaggerate their power, however you want to say it.
Judges think they outrank the president.
Proper course of action is, if you don't like it, the decision of a district judge is to, use the appellate courts. And I get all that, but I think his statement just sort of underscores the focus that's now on this issue. And we've taken legislative action in the House. We passed a legislation that said one of these federal district judges who issues an injunction, the injunction shouldn't apply nationwide. It should apply to the parties in that case, in that jurisdiction, not to the entire country. And even Justice Kagan had talked about this phenomena a few years back. So we think there's a chance that bill hopefully could get through the Senate and get signed by President Trump and scale some of this back, some of the power that these district judges have currently.
Yeah, and hopefully relatively soon, because as we know, it's not a lot of time for them to do some of this important work, and they're getting kind of stalled out. And I think that's exactly the point of why they're doing all this. Throws a nonsense case to try and derail him.
Being an unlawful assault on public
Look at this big greasy heifer.
health in our nation's history. This administration is taking a wrecking ball to the Department of Health and Human Services.
Good.
In just a few short weeks, this administration has unraveled decades of progress.
Yeah, good. That lady's a fraud, fake, scamming, big greasy criminal. They need to walk in there and get 4, 5, 6 set of handcuffs and strap her up, strap her down, walk her out, make an example out of her. I'm waiting on it. I can't wait to make a video. Breaking. New York Attorney General, Big Tish, Big Draws James, Big Pantyhose James, arrested. Facing 20 years. Let her sit in there. Let her look at the wall. Good.
What's your reaction to Tish James at this point?
I don't know that anybody takes her serious. We know how ridiculous the case was that she brought against President Trump. And of course, the irony with her is now it's being alleged that she did some of the same kind of things that she falsely accused President Trump of doing.
A disgrace.
For sure, but she's the Attorney General.
A disgrace, man. A disgrace. Let's continue to move on. A disgrace, man. It really is. You just can't make this up. I know Stephen Miller is on the first take of this lawsuit with Chief Justice Roberts. And he finally moved to executive authority. America First Legal, led by Trump's powerhouse advisors, Stephen Miller, has filed a blockbuster lawsuit against Chief Justice Roberts and Robert J. Conrad, head of the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts. The suit demands that the Judicial Conference and Administrative Office accused of overstepping their judicial bounds be placed under rightful presidential oversight, ensuring that the judiciary sticks to judging, not politicking. Yeah, man. This is a major win for President Trump's agenda to drain the swamp and protect the separation of powers. Woo! Play this video right here from Explain America. John Roberts should be investigated. Judges are not supposed to be political. When Supreme Court refuses to even hear the voter fraud of 2020, I myself lost all respect for the court. Roberts is compromised. Roberts, sadly, was another closet Democrat. We need to look at Amy Coney Barrett too. Facts. This is something that stinks. There's something that stinks there too as well. Roberts is an ultimate coward. Supreme Court needs term limits. Too long in one position brings corruption. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Supreme Court needs term limits. Too long in one position brings corruption. What do y'all think about that? Let me know in the comment section. Roberts is bought off. Roberts can come across as an activist. When Supreme Court passed on the 2020 election, I recommended the Supreme Court exchange their black robes for yellow ones. Yeah.
Justice John Roberts is now the focus of a lawsuit
that is intending to bring some balance and integrity back to the nation's highest court. A pro-Trump legal group founded by White House aide Stephen Miller is suing Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. The lawsuit was filed by America First Legal. It argues that records held by the Roberts-led U.S. Judicial Conference should be subject to the Freedom of Information Act requests or FOIA requests as a result. AFL cited in its lawsuit recent actions taken by both the Judicial Conference and Administrative Office in 2023 to accommodate requests from Congress to investigate allegations of ethical improprieties by Justices Thomas and Alito, and subsequently to create or adopt an ethics code for justices on the High Court. Now, the lawsuit says, under our constitutional tradition, accommodations with Congress are the province of the executive branch, AFL said, adding, quote, the Judicial Conference and the Administrative Office are therefore executive agencies and must therefore be overseen by the President, not the courts. Now, this is a big distinction because it looks like they're trying to set up an independent agency within the courts that would have operated like a rogue court in and of itself. Now, the lawsuit continues. Quote, plaintiffs for AFL argued in their lawsuit that the Judicial Conference's duties are executive functions and functions they allege must be supervised by executive officers, aka Trump officers, who are appointed and accountable to other executive officers. Now, further, AFL argued that the courts definitively do not create agencies to exercise functions beyond resolving cases or controversies or administratively supporting those functions. Now, in AFL's view, this is also sufficient to put the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts, as is overseen by the Judicial Conference, under the executive branch as well. AFL argued that the proposed framework preserves the separation of powers, but also keeps the court out of politics. Now, that would be a game changer. Justice Roberts has presided over a court that has been both highly political and highly ineffective. The Supreme Court has cherry-picked cases while letting Americans' constitutional rights and civil liberties get hammered in an onslaught from the radical left. We still don't know who the Dobbs case leaker was, which led to threats and violent attacks on conservative justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. We have seen selective outrage about Justice Clarence Thomas and taking trips with his friend Harlan Crow, or his wife's Republican activism. But where was the Robert-led court when it took a blind eye to controversies involving Justice Sonia Sotomayor? For just one example, Justice Sotomayor, her staff pushed universities to purchase her books before she was hosted to speak at public events. Now, the public trust in the Supreme Court as a whole is deteriorating. This is not about a problem for conservative justices alone. But we don't need interference from these internal enforcement mechanisms that are supposedly aiming to police the court, but wind up pressuring them or even blackmailing. There is no such thing as an independent body in the true sense of the term. We have to have accountability and leverage on the part of the American people in order to get results that reflect the will of the people. Now, we have a U.S. Congress. The bigger problem is that we have justices who are appointed for life, but they don't necessarily serve in so-called good behavior to show fidelity to the U.S. Constitution. We see that with rogue judges around the United States issuing nationwide injunctions at a volume unseen in U.S. history, simply because they see a president who is doing everything within his Article 2 powers to de-weaponize the government and thereby strip away the radical left's captured power base. The radical left clearly has attempted a revolution from above, and the American people have responded by electing a president to carry out a mandate to preserve and protect the Constitution.
People spoke loud and clear. Loud and clear. People that don't even get involved got involved. For this exact reason.
Constitution. In the process, the same president is being called authoritarian, all because the duly elected president is using his authority
under the executive branch. Now, the problem is that two of our branches, the judicial and the legislative, have been absolutely unable to police themselves, let alone check the other branches. So the GOP-led Congress, if we can even call it being led, has allowed activist judges to trample on the executive branch's powers because its leaders are too cowardly to openly defy the Trump presidency themselves. If Speaker Johnson really supported the American people and this president, he would have already stripped away the jurisdiction of not just these rogue courts, but potentially even the Supreme Court itself, as provided by the Constitution.
We almost walked you out. Y'all know how I said we almost walked you out on your lunch break. You had that Mountain Dew that died. Was it a diet Dr. Pepper? Or was it a diet Mountain Dew? It was one of the two. We almost walked you out, sir, on your lunch break.
Constitution, and for which there was precedent in the early 19th century. And that Constitution also provides for removing judges for failing to serve in good behavior. As such, we have to settle for this lawsuit, which hopes to rein in a politicized Supreme Court and remove leverage from activists who hope to pressure and seize the institution and to install the radical left's agenda. This has been Kyle Becker with Explain.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. All right, Brother Roberts. All right. Just getting started, Brother Roberts. We got some big fish to fry. And I tell you, that grease is hot.